Welcome to the 33rd episode of the Student Recap Podcast, Super Sports 1. Today I have Louis with me and he'll be discussing his athletic career through the years. So to start off with, who are you?
So my name's Louis. I'm from Belgium and I was born in America. I'm 14.
Okay.
I like climbing.
So Louis is obviously at the same school as me, and we are both involved in a lot of sports. But primarily, Louis has been doing a cross country and track this year. So would you like to talk about that?
Yeah. So basically, kind of the reason I started running was so one of my other friends, Luciano, kind of convinced me over the summer, saying you should join cross country. It'd be really fun. And then I decided to just do it. And then in the first few months, the first month or two, definitely because it's in the summer, is it's not really fun. Mm-hmm. But then once you start running and get a solid rhythm, it becomes a lot more fun with definitely once you find someone you can pace with and then you're just talking the entire time. It's just a really fun time to share time with friends, I guess.
And obviously, summer cross-country practice, it can be brutal. We are in very hot times. Yeah. But, getting into the actual season, how do you like the experience of doing these, races that aren't as intense as track, obviously, since it's a lot more people and the courses are sometimes shaded?
Yeah, so what you're referring to is, the cross-country
Yes,
meets?
the cross-country,
okay, yeah. In a way, I really prefer them over, the track meets, because... So, it's going to sound kind of funny, but in track meets, I feel in a way, everyone's, watching you, mm-hmm. while in, cross-country meets, it's, a lot more people in one heat, so it's kind of, not everyone's, I guess, watching you, except for, family or friends that are, there to support you. Most of the times, you're, behind trees, so it's, even a bit shady instead of just running out in the open.
Yeah, especially, when you're on a track where there's literally a stadium around it, you definitely, feel the pressure. Mm-hmm. But in cross-country, you really built up your times and improved a lot because at the beginning of the summer, you weren't, hitting all the times that you wanted. But now with track, actually, you broke 7 minutes for the mile. And that's really astounding, especially saying that you hadn't had much running experience before, right?
Yeah, I think what definitely helped is I remember maybe after the first month of the cross country season, my dad asked me if I wanted to sign up for the Woodlands half marathon, and I just said, why not? Maybe this will work out. So I decided to do it. And then just the training for that, seeing that I had to increase my mileage by so much kind of forced me to, I guess, get better or try harder. Definitely those long runs on the weekends that were an hour and a half long or an hour and 45 minutes long of just running. Mm-hmm. Just really helped me, I guess, build up my condition.
Yeah, I really give you props for doing the half marathon because I don't think any other freshman ran the half marathon other than you, even though there were some other kids as upperclassmen. And you actually inspired me to go and run the half marathon along with Luciano this upcoming February, I think. But moving away from just track and cross country, what other sports do you do?
So I recently got into bouldering or just rock climbing. For those who don't know what bouldering is, it's basically rock climbing, but there's a higher chance that you'll start on kind of a slope. So you'll be hanging more off of the wall, it'll kind of look like a cave. Mm-hmm. And I would say bouldering is slightly harder. But then the courses are also a lot shorter, so they'll be holds or just the things you grab onto. They'll be maybe 10 to 15 holds long, mm-hmm. Is the maximum, while some of the other big rock walls may have 30 to 40. And instead of having a harness, you just fall down on a mat, which is, for me, I really like that because you don't have to wear the harness, and I don't always enjoy wearing the harness because it's kind of uncomfortable.
And it does sort of emulate how real climbing is because obviously you're not going to be rock climbing up a straight wall most of the time that you're in nature, but bouldering kind of shows you what you're going to encounter if you were actually to go out and climb some random rocks, which not many people do, frankly.
Yeah. I think the reason for that is because mostly when you climb outside, it's not really someone set up a route. It's just the routes are already there. People just find them, and most of the times they're a lot harder. So when you go to a climbing gym which is just like the places where all the climbs are, you have like, I guess, different like rankings of how hard certain climbs are, and it starts at like VB, which is like beginner, and then it goes to V0, and then mostly in climbing gyms it goes up to like V8. But then sometimes outdoors it'll be like a lot harder.
Yeah, and from this like rock climbing experience, you've actually made some friends because Will, I think he's been on the channel before. He also does rock climbing with you, and I feel like it's an interesting activity because not many people do rock climbing, but since it's a small community, you're able to like find some really good friends there, right?
Yeah. I think it was mostly so Will one time decided to bring me. He just wanted to see if I would like it. I wasn't, like, I remember that day I wasn't, like, super convinced because it's not like I was scared of heights. It just wasn't my favorite thing. But then I remember getting there and, like, trying it out and just enjoying myself so much that I decided to keep coming back. And then now it's 3 months later and I have my own gear that I just got for climbing and I'm starting to get a lot better.
Now, additionally, you have a lot of commitments of time and also like training with sports. So how do you think that has made you a better person?
So I feel like the way it kind of makes you a better person is it helps you get like a solid rhythm, because if you have like that basis of, okay, I run in the mornings, or say I run in the afternoon and then I do the rest of my stuff, I feel like I prefer to run in the morning because it kind of makes my day off to like a good start. Be like, oh, I ran this morning, I did something good, and then it just kind of like sets the tone for the rest of my day. So like maybe if I have like a bit of a worse run, I may not be super happy throughout the day, or like say I didn't make a time, I may not be super happy during the day. But I definitely think it affects your personality a lot, and it just sets up how your day is going to be. I mean, at least for me.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And even like now, as we're getting closer to the end of the school year, I actually found it harder to like get my homework done before a certain time in the afternoon because I don't have that structure that sports were built in. So even with track, so I was going from practice from like 3:30 to 5:30, probably not home until 6, and I knew that I had to finish all of like my important stuff before 7 because I would have dinner. So then that kind of like set me up to be more prepared and have time management, which is helpful in like all the areas of my life, not just for homework. And with cross country, it allowed me to like plan different events at different times because I knew every single morning that I would have to be running, and then in the afternoons I could do other things. And it actually built like my social aspect because there were tons of people that were on the cross country team. I think it was like 54, and most of my friends now all do running. And I feel like running, especially like as a sport, makes people better because of the endurance and the training. Because yes, basketball, football, other sports, they have endurance. I feel like running sports are the true endurance sport because you really are out there against the clock and against everybody else. And like there's just a mental force that's pushing you in races. Certainly in the mile or the 2 mile, it's not necessarily a race where it's who's the fastest, but who can maintain the best mental focus the entire time.
Yeah, I definitely think mental focus is a big thing. Like in running, you can be able to run really fast, but the thing is you need to have like good mental strength because I definitely know like during the summer, it's like really easy to just like always want to stop seeing that it's so hot outside. I definitely think you need like to get mental strength, but mostly like after the first couple of months, like when you find someone to run with, like if you're running alone, it's, in my opinion, running alone it's just something that it doesn't really help me. Like if I ran the half marathon alone, I don't think I would have been able to keep running. So that's why I like ran it with my dad, for example, because I definitely feel like just being able to run with someone increases it so much because you're kind of like, okay, if they keep running, I have to stay with them. Or if you're like talking with them, you don't want to like leave them or that they leave you so that you can't talk to them because then you like kind of lose someone to, I guess, be with.
Yeah, and additionally, I feel like cross country specifically brings the community of running really to a forefront because after our long runs on Saturdays, often somebody would bring food and then we'd all like eat and talk after our run. And I really just think that having an activity after you do sports really makes it more enjoyable because yes, the running can be fun, but most of the time it really sucks.
Yeah, so I feel like it can suck sometimes, especially like during the workouts. But then it's also like really fun when like say you have maybe the pasta parties before the meets, or if you have some type of I guess meetup with the like cross country community. It's just really fun seeing that everyone's there and you're kind of in the same shoes as everyone because everyone's racing the next day or everyone just ran. Everybody's tired and then you can just like share your experiences. It's just a really, in my opinion, a really good time to, I guess, hang out with your community because everyone understands what you're saying there.
Now, obviously, like with the incredibly tough student life that we have here at our school, like what are some of the important commitments that you have doing sports as a student athlete that don't allow you to, let's say, excel in other things?
Well, I mean, some things are definitely like the reason I really liked morning practices is because I could get it done in the morning, so then I had my like afternoon done to actually like do homework or do other things that I wanted to do. So, but even with the afternoon practices now, some of the things I maybe can't do is, so I'm in a class called like technical theater, which is like the technical aspects like the lighting, the sound, like the moving of the props like in the theater. And I can't do some of those things, like I can't sign up for all the like shows. I was able to sign up for the first one in the beginning of the school year because running was in the morning, but now I'm not able to do that anymore, seeing that cross country or distance track was in the afternoon till 5:30, so I wasn't able to go out and help.
Yeah, and also, like with homework now in the afternoons, you have much less time. Even though like the sun is out for longer, you have sort of a more pressurized situation when you get home after track because you know the next day that you're still gonna have the same amount of school and the same amount of running.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely kind of forces you to use your study halls a lot more effectively, or I don't want to say cram, but definitely work more effectively and use a lot more time towards schoolwork. Even though if it doesn't always, it gives me a bit less time, I would say, to maybe like hang out with friends, but every night I still try to like kind of have a time where I want to be done with my homework, so I have like maybe an hour or something like that to like hang out with friends or something like that, or like call one of my friends.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I feel like the effectiveness of like how you do your work really has changed the way I like just go through life because when I realized that I could get my homework done much quicker if I didn't like click on something while I was doing my homework every, let's say, 5 minutes, because those distractions, they really slow you down, but when you're able to really focus, then you can enjoy all the moments of life. And lastly, how do sports connect people and create a sense of community, even if the people there might not have the same interests other than the sport?
Yeah, I feel like it definitely, like I mentioned a bit earlier, is like when you have those like I guess community events, everyone kind of like shares the same, I don't want to say story, but the same idea of like they may have just gone on a run or they just did something in a sport, and you can kind of like, even if they may not share the same interests, I feel like the sport kind of just connects everyone together when you have those like I guess maybe after like you do the sport like meetups or something like that. I feel like it really just connects the entire community because you both just did a sport, so you both kind of can relate to that. Like, say, I'll give like an example with climbing maybe. Like, so say me and my friend Will. So Will obviously is better at climbing because he's been climbing for a lot longer than I have. But we'll like kind of share the same experiences because he had a tough time with a climb because of there's like maybe this certain hold that's not very good to like hold on to. And then I may have the same experience with a climb that I did that also doesn't have too good of a hold, even though he may consider it a good hold. Like, it just kind of shows you can just talk about it at your own level and everyone will really understand you.
And sort of curveball, so you ran, I think, the half marathon in 2 hours and 10 minutes about, right?
Yeah, it was something around there. I think it was 2 hours and like 12 minutes, but it was a bit more. The Woodlands half was like a bit more, I think, according to my watch, but my watch may be wrong, but yeah.
So what's your goal this upcoming year to do like a better time in the half marathon?
So I'm going to, instead of procrastinating for training till 2 months before the race, I'm actually going to start this summer. That wasn't really a good idea to procrastinate that much, but I'm going to start this summer, like doing long runs and training. with my dad, because my dad's getting a bit older now, and it's getting a bit harder for him to always run, because he runs less a bit now. So I definitely want to make this year count, because this year or next year may be like one of the last times that I'm able to run this race with him. So I really just want to like make it count and get a time that's like under 2 hours. And I feel like if I'm able to be kind of prepared a lot more ahead of time and find this faster pace that I need to run for, I feel like I can definitely accomplish that.
You know, this interview has really showed your character as a runner, but also as an athlete as a whole. Thank you so much for being on the Student Recap podcast.